Hello, it's Dub here with Laura. Hey, Laura.
Hi.
And we're here with David with the City of Fort St. John Recreation.
Hello.
And we're also joined by Constable Neustaeter of the Fort St. John RCMP detachment.
Hi, everybody.
It's our final Canadian activity today. We're going to be talking a bit about the history of the RCMP and what they do in the community and the community surrounding Fort St. John in just a quick minute. Do want to quickly say congratulations to this week's winner from last week's Canadian Activities video, Victoria Butler, who won themselves a $25 gift card to the Butcher Block. So
Nice.
that's going to be great. We're going to have a brand new $25 gift card to give away. You just got to go to moosefm.ca/contest, click on Canadian Activities. Tell us what we're doing today in this video to get yourself in that draw. Now, speaking of what we're doing today, again, a bit about the history of the RCMP and what you guys do in town and all the good. I mean, you guys have been around for a long time. It's a pretty old Canadian organization, eh, Constable?
Yeah, the RCMP, its actual birthday is considered to be in May of 1873. So we're at 148 years this year.
Wow, there you go. And I think, you do a lot in the RCMP. I know you kind of started as one thing, and then it's slowly, your job has expanded over the 148 years. So why don't you tell us a bit about what it is you guys do? You know, it's not just about, cuffing criminals and putting them in jail. It's about so much more than that, isn't it?
Yeah. So essentially, we're Canada's federal police force. We're Canada's police. We, as the RCMP, work at a number of different levels. There's federal policing. We're also contracted to the provinces, and we also work municipally. I am in an Indigenous policing unit here in Fort St. John. So my actual role is I go to our different Indigenous communities, Doig, Blueberry, and Halfway, every day. And that's where I do some of our work. We're more of a proactive unit, but policing by nature is very reactive. Usually something happens, some sort of report gets made, and police respond to that. And so we work for our communities. Whoever makes a report, that's who we're basically at that point working for, trying to solve some sort of issue, crime, problem, whatever it might be. In our unit, we're very proactive. I also am trained as a DARE officer, so I get to go into the schools. It's drug abuse resistance education. So I get to work with students, and part of that is trying to help students learn to make wise, responsible decisions. And then working with our Indigenous communities, liaising with them. What are issues that their communities are facing? What are things that they would like to work on in their communities? How can we be a part of that? So a lot of different levels, a lot of different work. And probably, you were talking about how long the RCMP's been around. Probably one of the most iconic symbols in the entire world, the most recognized, is the RCMP Red Surge. It's been around, I don't remember exactly the date that it started, but it is one of those symbols that is recognized throughout the world, probably the #1 recognized symbol. And every member has one. You probably remember seeing us on Canada Day or Remembrance Day, and we get the opportunity to wear them in very formal activities. The RCMP Musical Ride also wears those, and they're well known around the world as well too. Riding horses, the mounted police component, to music, and wearing the iconic red surge with the brown Stetsons and the high brown riding boots.
I have to ask, Constable, BC is unique in that, as I understand, BC has the most RCMP detachments out of any province in Canada, I believe. And I don't know how kind of far and wide your career has taken you kind of around the country, but is there something unique about working here and in British Columbia because the RCMP is there's so many RCMP detachments as compared to other provinces that have far fewer, or other provinces who don't even really have the RCMP and the same forces they do in a place like British Columbia?
Yeah, Ontario has their own police force, so they don't have nearly the number of RCMP. We do have federal RCMP at that level. BC, we have a lot of detachments and a lot of members. One of the things that's unique to BC is we actually have our own training center down in Chilliwack. Most RCMP for ongoing training go back to Regina, but in British Columbia here we go actually to Chilliwack for ongoing training. It also gives us a lot of opportunity because there are so many different detachments. We can stay within our division BC is known as E Division, and we can transfer in between different detachments as our time concludes in one and prepare to go to another. And that's one of the unique things about the RCMP is because it's a national police force, we can actually transfer from one province to another. We can go from municipal policing to provincial or to federal. There's even liaison units in different countries where you represent the RCMP in another country to help with investigations internationally.
Wow, it's quite a widespread kind of amount of jobs you guys take on and sort of things you do. I mean, you just speak personally for a minute, Constable. You know, you obviously chose to be in the RCMP. It's probably something I imagine you wanted to do. What does it say to you that day you get that red surge and you're like that iconic piece of Canadiana, that symbol of the RCMP? What did that mean to you the day that you got to wear that, say, even the first time, or every time you get to wear that when you're, you know, taking part in Canada Day or as you say, maybe Remembrance Day ceremonies?
So I may be a little bit older than some, but I remember the day that I got my red surge. And going into the RCMP, for me, I'd always had good interactions with police. We had local RCMP when I was growing up. Becoming a police officer is really about helping people solve problems and issues. And that's something that I wanted to do. To be able to wear the red surge, to become a police officer, in a way for me, lets me help people that are around me, but it also helps me represent Canada and care for my community. I think every police officer that becomes a police officer comes with that intent. I know we don't get a lot of maybe good press or good media lately, but essentially that's where police officers start. And most police officers that I know, even now, they really care about their communities. A lot of them are involved in different levels, even just at a civilian level with coaching and teaching, different things like that, that really integrate them into the community. And some police officers just try and go back to their communities because they love it so much. And they want to be able to benefit their community by the training that they've received. So for me, it's a pretty proud moment. And actually, I do have a horse as well.
Oh.
So Canada Day and Remembrance Day, if you've seen a horse in the parade here in Fort St. John, I've been one of those officers that's been able to wear my red surge on my horse. And I've enjoyed doing that as well too, because for me, that's the epitome of the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Starting out as the Northwest Mounted Police, then the Royal Northwest Mounted Police, all mounted on horses to where we are today, and sort of that opportunity to even flash back to history.
Do you have to be able to ride a horse to be a member of the RCMP? I have to ask.
You do not have to be able to ride a horse.
It's a good bonus.
Yeah, it's a bonus, absolutely. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, why don't we finish off kind of lastly with it's Canada Day tomorrow. Celebrations obviously a little bit different this year due to COVID. Even maybe subdued given the kind of the news lately with the residential schools and whatnot. What are you kind of looking out for, like, in terms of keeping everybody safe tomorrow if they do want to celebrate a bit, if they're getting out and about? What do you want to say about that?
Well, Dub, as soon as you say people getting out and about, one of the biggest things is people might be traveling a little bit. And even sometimes people think, well, I'm just traveling a short distance. But seatbelts do work and do save lives. Mm-hmm. Even for a short distance, wear your seatbelts. We deal with a lot of people that don't. When it comes to collisions, often that's a part of what's happened. Speed is another thing. If you are traveling somewhere, especially if it's hot outside, I know people sometimes get impatient. They're in a hurry. They're pressed to meet somebody. Just keep the speeds down, especially over a day like this where we're going to have celebrations and maybe more people out. But then also too, stay hydrated and stay in the shade, especially with the heat that we've got going on. And if you're going to be partaking in alcoholic beverages, we just ask, please have a plan to get home. There's nothing wrong with enjoying that. It's just when you start enjoying it and then driving. We're really concerned about people being on the roads and impaired operation of vehicles. That would be one of the big things that I would just let the public know. Just drive safely, have a ride planned, have someone pick you up, grab a taxi, whatever it might be. Just get home safe and celebrate Canada Day in a way that you'll be able to remember.
Okay, all good advice. Any questions you guys want to ask? Anything we didn't cover, David?
Constable Neustaeter, I just had one question. Like, When you see like movies portrayed and like kind of symbolizing Mounties, like does that kind of upset you when they kind of tease, or do you laugh along with the joke? I'm just kind of curious.
Often I'll laugh along with the joke. I know Dub had earlier just made a comment about which movie was it or show again?
I mentioned Due South.
Due South, right. And we've got the iconic Mountie always wearing the red serge and Stetson. And you know what? Yeah, maybe it's funny and it makes a little bit of fun. But at the same time, it's that recognition too, right? Like, this is something about Canada. People worldwide recognize that. And I think to continue to promote that in a positive way, there's a lot of positives that we can promote and see through that as well too. So yeah, I'll get a good laugh out of it usually. I don't get angry about too much.
Anything for you, Brixie?
I had something and then I forgot it. It's the heat, man. It's killing me.
It is kind of hot in here. All right. Well, we'll remind you again, our Canadian Activities Contest. To get in on it, go to moosefm.ca/contest. Just tell us what we did in this video today. What sort of Canadian activity or icon we were talking about. In this case, it was the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. And you'll be entered for a draw to win a $25 gift card to a local business, which we'll announce in next week's video or whatever we happen to be doing. But this happens to be our last video for this. It goes by so fast, eh, David?
It sure does. Thanks, Constable Neustaeter, for coming. Really appreciate your time, and we know you have a lot of work to do, but we appreciate you coming and telling us more about the RCMP. Thank you.
No problem. It's been a pleasure. And, anytime that we get to maybe answer some questions for the public, because I realize the public doesn't know maybe a lot about who we are, what we do, or maybe have very limited experience. So an opportunity like this, thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. All right, well, we'll say goodbye for now. Make sure you stay safe tomorrow in whatever way you happen to celebrate Canada Day, and bye!